I look back at my entire career thus far as a music producer, and there have been 6 conversations that have really changed the trajectory of my career, not only flipped the switch in my brain of how I might look at certain things, but also just changed the amount of success I had in certain areas. So I really want to share these conversations and advice that I've gotten from other people. I really think it'll help you guys a lot, just like it did me. Number 1 is actually 2 different conversations. So if you guys didn't know, I actually interned for a company that a lot of you probably know if you're in the producer space called BeatStars. I was still in college. I got the job because I was building an Instagram page. They saw my Instagram page and thought I could help them with their social media. So I joined as an intern. I was making like $10 an hour. All in all, it was a great experience, and I worked there for an entire summer. I had a great time. But at the end of the summer, I had to have 2 separate meetings. 1 with the marketing director at BeatStars. He or she will remain nameless. And 2 with the CEO of BeatStars, who is Abe Batchon. Now, looking at these 2 very different people, one of them is an employee and one of them is a CEO, right? One of them quite literally created a company and one of them works for that company. Now, there's nothing wrong with being an employee versus being a CEO or an entrepreneur, but one of them obviously lines up more with what I'm trying to do. Being a music producer is basically building your own business around your music. So I kind of fell in line more with Abe, the CEO. So my first meeting was with the marketing director, who, like I said, was an employee. And she actually told me, I'll never forget these words. She said, I really like the things that you do on Instagram, but you should really have a plan B and really try to find something else that you'll be able to do if the music stuff doesn't work out. Bruh. Now, as a senior in college and somebody who really wasn't making a ton of money off their music right now, that's not really what I wanted to hear. And honestly, I kind of brushed it to the side. I already was in the mindset of, I'm not gonna listen to that. Like, I know I can do this music stuff if I'm doing what I'm already doing. I just continue to grow. But this is what's funny, and this is what's pretty ironic. I then have a meeting directly after that meeting with Abe, the CEO, and I asked Abe, I was like, what do you think? And he was like, you can't listen to anybody. He said, even your parents. He said, if you really want to start something, you really want to build something, you just have to go for it. You can't listen to anybody, which is so funny and so ironic that I literally just had somebody tell me to have a plan B, be careful. You know, it probably not many people make it in music type stuff like that. So that just shows CEOs, entrepreneurs think a lot differently than employees. And some people have that mindset and some people don't, and both are okay. But if you're trying to do this, you need to develop that CEO entrepreneur mindset. Number 2, this conversation quite literally happened probably a month into my music producer career, or me trying to become a music producer. I had just started making beats and I had just started posting videos on Instagram. I wasn't putting my face in videos. I wasn't showing myself. There really weren't a lot of people at that time posting videos on social media anyway about making beats and stuff like that. But I had a friend of mine, his name is Ellie Waves, and this guy, I've had a ton of conversations with him. He's a very smart individual. But even back in, I don't know, 2016, 2019, I forget what year it was, he was like, dude, you got to put your face in videos. He was like, I promise you it'll get way more views. And I was terrified to put my face in videos. I didn't want anyone, including my best friends, knowing that I was making music. He was one of the few people I told. He was like, you got to put your face in videos. I put my face in a video, instantly twice as many views. Then from there on out, I always put my face in videos, and the rest is history. I basically make my living off being a producer on social media. I think this is a great example of, 1, your friends should be people that want you to succeed and are going to push you to do something better. He saw this and he was like, from an outsider looking in, it would be way cooler if I could see your face in video. So, but keep that in mind. Your friends are people that should probably push you and want you to do better and get you out of your comfort zone a little bit and want you to succeed. And quite frankly, looking back, if I was to continue just not putting my face in videos for years, I wouldn't be a producer. Like, I quite literally would not be a music producer full time. I would still be trying to make beats, and maybe I would like be going the placement route and not really making a lot of money. The third conversation I had is with an artist friend of mine named Chris BD. Chris currently has 1.6 million monthly listeners on Spotify, and this conversation took place in early 2023. I was just starting to co-release with artists, trying to get my music out there on Spotify, build up my streaming revenue and my monthly listeners. I think I had maybe 20,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. It was not a lot. I was still trying to learn the game and get a lot more music out there. And Chris gave me some very good criticism. He said, the songs you're making have no concept. They're way too long. Nobody's probably gonna listen to the entire thing given how people's attention span have become. People like shorter stuff that's gonna hit a lot harder. And he was like, your songs have to be on concept and not that long. I've been doing this formula for years, and he has grown significantly, obviously. So I've been following that. I went from 20,000 monthly listeners to almost 500,000 monthly listeners now on Spotify in 2023. It's really crazy once you follow that formula, put out music consistently, maybe like every single week or every 2 weeks, you can really see a lot of growth on Spotify. The fourth conversation I had came from an extremely unusual place. It was actually from a client of mine. This is when I was like 21 years old, probably 3 years ago. I was really making music for anybody so I could make some money off my like art and things like that. But there were these two girls that wanted an intro song to their podcast, right? Not really something I'm used to making, but something I could probably pull off. So I was like, all right, let me make this for their podcast. They'll probably be willing to pay me a couple $100. I was so excited, right? So I have this call with them to figure out exactly what they want. And they said, how much do you charge for something like this? And I'll never forget it. I said, oh, whatever you guys want, I'm cool with. And the one girl stopped me. She goes, hey, we know you're young. She said, never say that again. And I said, well, what do you mean? She said, you should know your worth and always charge what you're worth. She said, if you don't know that, people will walk all over you, right? She said, we could have come back to you and said, oh, can you do it for $50? But they gave me the opportunity, which was very nice of them, to go back, figure out what I was worth. And I think I ended up charging them like $500 for this thing, right? So that was huge. I never ask people. I'll be like, oh, what do you think it's worth, right? I know my value and I charge people that value. If they can't accept that or they can't afford that, then maybe we can work on something and work something out. But I always, first time in the conversation somebody asked, I say, this is what I'm worth. It costs this amount to do this. It costs this amount to do that. That way, people aren't just walking all over you. You guys should really take that into account. If someone's like, how much is a beat? Know your price and give them that price, and don't be afraid to give them that price. So when they come back to you, one, they might take that right away. They might not even offer a counter offer. Maybe sometimes you go a little bit above what you're worth just so people can cut you down a little bit, and then you're right at what you're worth, right? So that conversation was crazy. They did not have to be that nice. So definitely take that advice. It's helped me a ton, probably has saved me a lot of money. All right, let's get on to the fifth conversation I had. This actually goes back to my friend again, Ellie Waves, I've had a ton of good talks with him, but he really brought to my attention, I think it was a couple months ago, I was trying to make YouTube videos similar to Kyle Beats, and I was trying to make that my thing, but I was always really good at Instagram videos. And he was like, dude, why don't you just focus on one thing? He's like, you're stretching yourself out too thin. Focus on one thing. I think you could see a lot of success. So I tried that. I started making this form of YouTube videos, which one, doesn't take me that long to make, and is actually what I want to do here on YouTube and provide you guys value. And I actually started focusing on Instagram. I was like holding steady on Instagram for a while. I was just kind of at 107,000 followers, couldn't go up, couldn't go down no matter what I posted. But I kind of started changing what I did, and I've actually seen 28,000 followers of growth in the last 90 days because I really started focusing on the content that I was posting. And then I actually started doing that in a lot of other things in my life, right? Even like cutting some people off in my life to where I was giving time to that was not necessarily valuable to me, started putting it into the business, started putting it into the people that matter, started putting it into other places in my life that matter. I think that's really key. Like, I don't focus on selling beats, right? It's not my thing. I focus on posting content, putting out songs, getting royalties from my songs, selling sample packs. So that is what has worked for me. So why would I be trying 3, 4, 5 other things when I can focus on what works and really be exceptional at what works, and do it at a high level, higher than a lot of other people? So that's what I got out of that conversation. I think that is so key. I've seen a lot of success doing it in the last couple of months. Also, I wanted to give myself a quick plug. I have a social media course for music producers that I think you guys will find extremely helpful. Filming, editing, my content strategy, what I use to post, how I edit, everything. In this course, you also get like a schedule, a Discord for me to review your content. Check it out. The link is in the description. I think it'll be really helpful for all of you. The last conversation I had, which is a very memorable one for me, I actually just graduated college. It was in 2021, and I was sitting at the kitchen table with my parents. God bless my parents. My parents have given me a phenomenal life, and they kind of had that same conversation with me. They're like, hey, do you think you can really do this as a job, like full time? You know, maybe you should do another job on the side of this and really kind of figure it out. And this wasn't so much of an advice conversation. This was more so a conversation of me genuinely believing in myself. And I told them exactly this. I said, guys, I'm just gonna put my head down and work. I said, I'm just gonna put my head down, do the work that I've been doing, and I know I'll see results from it. I was seeing some results, right? I was making some money every month, but I put my head down, put all my time and focus onto being a music producer, and I was able to do it. That first couple months, I was extremely successful. I was able to move out like a year or a year and a half later from my parents' house. Sometimes having the conversation of you just saying it yourself is extremely powerful, right? Even if like you're a little unsure, like I wasn't sure if I was gonna be able to do it or make that much money, but I was like, I'm just gonna put my head down and work, and whatever happens, I'm gonna be confident in my abilities that I can make it work. So I thought that was a very good conversation. It was a big turning point in my life, right? When you're done with school and it's that transition period of trying to find a job, me saying just, I'm gonna put my head down and work and figure it out. They gave me confidence to actually go do that. But those are my 6 conversations. Hopefully it helps you guys. It was very helpful for me. They're honestly kind of like checkpoints that I look back on and remind myself of just like, hey, this is what we need to be doing. But yeah, as always, I hope you guys find some benefit from this video. Hope you guys like the channel. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. If there's anything you guys want me to talk about, drop it down in the description. I probably have went through it, and I can hopefully help you guys out some more. So definitely check out the social media course as well. But yeah, I got to go to a session and make some music. But I love you guys. I'll see you next time. Peace.